What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central. I'm your host, Haize, at least one of your hosts, and I'm here by myself today solo to give you guys another quick episode and an update and to go over some things that are on my mind. On today's episode, I'll be asking the question, should Sheldon Richardson or Larry Ogunjobi be on the Bears' radar to flesh out that defensive line? We'll also be talking about Jaylon Johnson's comments on what the Bears' defensive scheme will be. We'll get into all that and more in today's Chicago Bears Central.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
All right, Bears fans. So first up, I do want to ask you guys this. So it's something I've been running through. Again, this channel is supposed to be a reflection of you guys and the content that you want delivered. How would you guys feel about daily content? Now, me, C-Dub, and Bobby, we do the episode Wednesdays and Sundays. But how would you like to quick episodes between then, whether it's me, whether it's Bobby, whether it's C-Dub, just quick things every day to touch base with you guys over Bears content. It'll probably be more of a regular season thing because there's just more to talk about in that case. But let me know what you guys think about that down below. But I had some thoughts. So on yesterday's live stream, we talked about how the Bears freed up $7 million in extra cap space just because of that June 1st date. And I'm not going to go over that again. Go and watch that video if you want to know how that works. Basically, what happens is that you can designate certain players as June 1st cuts. And if you do that, their dead salary, most of their dead salary goes into the next season. You only have to pay the dead salary for just the season in which you cut them in. And because the Bears did designate Cohen and Trevathan's cuts as post-June 1st cuts, it freed up an additional $7 million in cap space. Now, there's going to be another wave of free agency for all NFL teams around this time. Heck, we just seen Akeem Hicks sign just now. There's going to be more like that. There's probably going to be some more cuts as well because that post-June 1st cut and tax, it applies to any cuts that are made after June 1st. So any team can cut a player right now. They only owe the dead salary for that season, whereas the rest of the dead salary moves over to the cap for the next season. So don't be surprised if you see more cuts. But because of that, I wanted to talk about what are some things that the Bears can do to add flexibility not only to this team, but to flesh out that defense a little bit more. Now, we know that the Bears did plan on signing Larry Ogunjobi as their 3 tech. That fell through after he failed a physical. He's been working out. He's been posting, things like that. He could still very much clear that physical and still be signed, but I wanted to bring him up and as well as another option for the Chicago Bears. So first I'm going to talk about Sheldon Richardson. He's 31. He played in 17 games last season with 7 starts. He had 2.5 sacks, 39 tackles, 6 of those tackles being for a loss, and 13 QB hits. Now, Sheldon Richardson very much could fit into what Ryan Poles has done so far with most of his signings. Somebody who could take a 1-year deal, not have any long-term money on the books for the salary, but be somebody who fills in right now and helps fleshes out and improves that defensive line. And I don't think I don't think Sheldon Richardson could be a bad signing for the Bears. It remains to see how much he still has left in the tank, and he very much may be chasing a ring. There was talk that he might have been a signing for the Bucs, but they ended up going with Akeem Hicks in that spot over him. So could that mean that he could be interested in coming into a proving team like the Chicago Bears, being that veteran presence and helping that defensive line there? Another option for the Chicago Bears is still Larry Ogunjobi, who was only 27 years old, 16 games played last season, 16 starts, 7 sacks, 49 tackles, 12 of those tackles being for a loss, and 16 QB hits. We already know what Larry Ogunjobi could bring. There's a reason why Larry Ogunjobi was one of the few, if not the only player that Ryan Poles did offer long-term money to, and there seems to still be some interest there. So I'm going to present to you guys this question. If it comes down to Sheldon Richardson or Larry Ogunjobi, which one would you rather have? And do you think I think that Larry Ogunjobi, the Bears very much may be able to get him to agree to a 1-year prove-it deal just to say that he could stay healthy after he does clear that physical, with still the option of signing that long-term contract next season in the offseason. So very much could be there. We could even see if he does clear the physical and the Bears feel very confident of it, they could offer him that long-term contract right back. So what do you guys think with that? I think Sheldon Richardson is another option as well, and I really like those 2 players. I know there are some other ones that we can mention, like Ndamukong Suh, who I think would be way too much money for what the Bears are probably willing to pay at this stage. And even him coming into a team that's not expected to do much, to be a 8-9, hopefully 10-win team, He'll probably take a whole lot of money that Ryan Poles, even in one season, may not be willing to give up when you have options like Sheldon Richardson and possibly Larry Ogunjobi. What I want to hear from you guys down below, sound off. Let me know what you guys think of those two options, or if there's somebody else you would like to see the Bears look at. And I know there's still some people who are hoping the Bears make another wide receiver move, maybe bring in some other wide receivers. I don't know if that's likely. I really do feel like this Bears team feels confident in the core of wide receivers they have, as proven seasons around Justin Fields, for better or for worse. That's kind of what I think. I wouldn't be mad if they bring in another wide receiver, but I wanted to focus at least on this video on that defensive line. If you guys would like to see another video kind of in that same vein for possible wide receiver targets in this last wave of free agency for the Chicago Bears, if they're even active in this last wave, let me know that down below as well. Before we go, I want to talk about these comments from Jaylon Johnson. Now, this one, it has me excited. We talked about, again, on the live stream yesterday, we talked about just the Bears defense and what it's like, how exciting the Bears defense was at one point, how exciting when Bears are good, how that defense is going. And he said the new defensive scheme is to attack and get turnovers. And considering Gordon, Brisker, what we've heard about them, the Bears secondary, the linebacker core, hopefully what this D-line can end up doing, I love that being the theme. If we have a defensive team that attacks and gets turnovers, which means usually better field position as well for Justin Fields and that offense, that can be huge for us. Now, I'm going to do a direct quote from Jaylon Johnson. He says, hard-nosed, flying around the ball, definitely different culture, really attacking and playing hard. Try to cause turnovers just like the Colts have been doing these last couple of years. We're going to be attacking the ball and getting those turnovers. Now, I know there was some talk of the fact that Jaylon Johnson was practicing with the second team. It's good to see him engaged and excited about this defense, and hopefully that transitions to us fans as well, that we get to see an exciting brand of defense from the Chicago Bears football team. We already know when the Bears are great and that defense is rocking and good, it's just a different feel around the city. It's a different feel around the team and the organization. Hopefully they live up to those words. For us to see an attacking and getting turnovers type defense this season would be hugely exciting, in a season that brings so many questions for the Chicago Bears. But that's it for me for today. Let me know what you guys think about Jaylon Johnson's comments, as well as the possibility of signing Sheldon Richardson and Larry Ogunjobi. Like I said, let me know if you guys have any other prospects as well. Make sure you're following the show at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform. We also now have a Facebook group, which we just started. It's Chicago Bears Central on Facebook. So if you want to be in there having good conversation about the Chicago Bears and football in general, that's the place that you want to be as we continue to build it out. You can also send us any emails, feedback, comments, concerns, chicagobearcentral@gmail.com. And lastly, if you want to leave us a text and or voicemail, you can do so at 773-270-2799. Like I like to end everything on, go Bears, the Bears, bear down, everything. You already know what it is. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.